Hey, good Thursday morning, and thanks for checking out your latest long-range forecast update. Michael Clark here with BAM Weather. We're going to talk about, everything that everyone's talking about right now in terms of, is it going to get cold again? Is winter going to come back? And yeah, I think so. I think the answer is yes. I think that's what we're dealing with. I've had some pretty extensive analysis here over the last couple of days, including you can see the state-of-the-art analysis back here on the whiteboard from my kids that put all of their analysis back there as well. So, no, I think that I'm just going to tell you what I think happens. I'll try not to get too technical. It's just I'm just giving you a forecast, and I think that I'm going to roll with it. I like what I'm seeing. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Tell a friend. We'll get right into it very quickly here. We'll kind of start with the short term. This is radar as of 10 a.m. Eastern time here on Thursday, the 18th of December. A big cold front swinging through. This is on our Clarity platform. Going to bring heavy rain and a little bit of what we call flash freezing, where the temperatures will drop drastically behind it, and then the potential for snow to work in. There's a nice little line of rain and probably a few embedded thunderstorms and bolts of lightning, if you will, coming through the Ohio Valley, with snow showers being offered up on the backside and winds that can gust over 45 miles per hour, especially out ahead of this front across Indiana, Ohio, and portions of Michigan. Here, again, 55 mile per hour winds there off the Clarity platform. So a quick look at snow just the next 24 hours. We've actually seen some trends upward. This may be a little conservative. Some of our high-res data in the short term indicating the potential here. I'll show you the latest HRRR weather model for just a quick swath of backside snow potential. This is the latest run that came in. And you can kind of see what it's doing here, suggesting there could be a coating of snow from Illinois, Indiana, Ohio into portions of the mid-Atlantic. So don't want to spend too much time on that. The rain forecast, you can see it's heavy, especially in the Ohio Valley, points east. Cool thing about Clarity is you can click around. This map updates every hour, goes out 24 hours with a blend of multiple different high-resolution weather models. So pretty cool. But there's the forecast here over the next 24 hours. So let's get into the short term of it here. This is the evening AIFS, the overnight run of the European AI weather model, right? And generally what we have is a relatively quiet pattern. High pressure works in this weekend. There's a little front up there in New England coming in Sunday evening, maybe some snow far northern Maine. Arctic high works in. It's cold this weekend. You get on the backside of the high, you get it on a return flow, southwest or southeast wind there, kind of ushering in warmer air, and it is going to get warm for Christmas. In fact, I will move this so you can see how warm it's going to get. It's actually rather unbelievable for the most part for how warm these temperatures get, but this is synoptic weather. Anyone could access this beta trial for free right now, but check out here, getting into the afternoon of Christmas Eve. There's really no weather around anywhere, and temperatures are extraordinarily mild. You're in the 70s in the deep south. That's Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve night into Christmas Day morning, there could be a situation where there's rain breaking out across the Ohio Valley. You want to watch the northeast for some rain that can change to snow and some cold air damming, forcing cold into the north side of that. Maybe some snow mixing in Philly or New York if the cold air can filter into that storm. But look at this. Elsewhere, there's nothing going on, and it's 65 degrees in Indy. I mean, just crazy warmth here on this particular run of the AI. Now, what I want to point your attention to, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit because we're getting into the long range, but for a reason. Storm system will work in here sometime the last 3 or so days of December. And this could be the storm that brings in the change, a couple of them potentially, that brings in a change and possibly indicates a bigger East Coast storm signal into the Ohio Valley, and something that would be maybe something like this. This is very rudimentary. It's very high level, if you will, closer to the end of the month. That was the 6Z run of the AI. Here was the 0Z run. And again, just an indication of a bigger storm there, a nice blocking high. and a couple of storms there that may offer up needs our attention. And because of that, because the reason for that is the blocking that's developing up here, the negative NAO, and I'm going to talk about that. So in a nutshell, I want you to keep an eye on the end of the month. All right. I want you to keep an eye on the end of the month. I want to talk about why I think the forecast ultimately trends colder and stormier late month into January. This is a look at the surface pressure forecast, basically day 10 to day 15 on the evening EPS. We're continuing to see warming both on the North Atlantic side, the North Pacific side, and it's bothering the vortex. The Arctic oscillations continuing to trend more negative, and I believe it's because of what's happening to the stratospheric polar vortex and where it's located. Whether or not others agree with me or have other evidence, I don't particularly care. This is my forecast call in my video on my channel. So if you have a difference of opinions, put one out on your channel and put your forecast out. But this is ours. So a trend to a negative Arctic oscillation, a flip in the northern annular mode here, the NAM, not the NAM weather model, but the northern annular mode is another fancy term for the Arctic oscillation. Blocking high pressure. Okay, the trend in the European last several runs has been for a stronger negative Arctic oscillation with each run. That's evident on the models. Okay, the Arctic oscillation, it helps to displace Arctic air. It takes it from the higher latitudes and in the mid latitudes and displaces it. It puts it in other spots. And the interesting part about this is we're also seeing some interesting trends in the reflection of this in the 500 millibar pattern, not only from the Arctic oscillation, but from the NAO, the North Atlantic oscillation. Note the westward trends of the North Atlantic block there in the North Atlantic there near Greenland. What once looked more as an eastern-based NAO, we're seeing the backing up of the ridge, and it makes the trough back up. You see that as well. All right, and you have the strong Aleutian Ridge up there in the North Pacific, and so we're squeezing not only the Arctic air at the surface, we're squeezing the tropospheric polar vortex here. It's actually disconnected, elongated, and discombobulated, if you will. This is the 500 millibar or the 20-ish thousand foot level, and I think this is setting the stage for a big storm signal. 28th through the 31st of December. Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, Northeast, possible nor'easter, a big storm in this particular window. If you asked my opinion at this stage in the game, just based off the trend from day 15 to day 13. Okay, so we'll keep that in mind. That could bring in the change that I've been talking about. Brett's been talking about now for days here on our X account, and a lot of it is really focused in the core of the thought process here is focused in the location strength of the stratospheric polar vortex. Okay, years that have ideal similar placement to the location of the coldest air on the planet in the northern hemisphere tend to be cold. The analog years that show similar patterns like this are shown on the top left, and you've got warming on the Scandinavian side, warming in the Pacific side. It squeezes, elongates the vortex, and you have. Here's what you have. This is why this matters. People get so confused on this. Everybody focuses on the EPO. If there's not an EPO, there's no cold. Well, that's just not true. Okay, especially when you have this particular setup. And here's why. Because when a storm system can come through, let's say that a storm system comes in through here and comes on up through here, right? Which is what may happen. It may be something actually a little bit more possibly like this or something. I don't know yet. But regardless, you tap into this. Okay, your storm system phases with the polar jet. The source of Arctic air is close. It's nearby. It's available for tapping. You can get it. Even if you don't have a block here that's dislodging it, you can still tap into it here because the source is closer. You have a source. To whereas over here, you don't have a damn source. Okay? I don't care if you have the biggest, baddest, negative EPO you've ever seen. There's no cold here. It's over here. Okay? And so these years are not cold in January. Okay? Even if you have blocking, at 500 millibars, these are just not, typically colder Januaries because the source of Arctic air is not on our side of the hemisphere. And so when it is, like it is here and now, it makes it easier. This is the day 15. Actually, I'm going to just show you. I'm going to show you what's interesting. What I believe, real quick, is causing the negative Arctic oscillation, by the way. And I believe that we're seeing some seepage, if you will, from the stratosphere down to the surface. And the reason for that, the reason I believe it's leaking, I think the word leaking is appropriate here. If you don't get it, I'm not going to describe it. Sorry. But there's two lobes of the stratospheric polar vortex. They're separated. There's a leak. And there's obviously substantial warming occurring. The lobe is down here over the Hudson Bay. And that's translating, I believe, to the negative Arctic oscillation, the higher pressure at the surface. It's just the way that goes. But even out to day 11, 12, 13, day 15, the PV is on our side of the planet. And it's there for the taking. So if another storm rolls through, which, by the way, the data has a storm. Okay, I'll show you right here. You can see the indication of a trough here in the east. There's something here. And listen, this is a classic strong negative North Atlantic oscillation. And the trend has been to back that up, as I've already showed you. So with that storm there, as I just described, let me go back to this. You're going to have the ability to pull this air down and tap into it from a storm system, draw it into your storm, and get a shot of Arctic air behind it, which is the idea that I believe is alive and well, into the first week of January. Okay, teleconnection line. Let's talk about this. Okay, European across the top. You have your Arctic oscillation forecast here from the Euro. You can see it goes negative by looks like this is the 26th. Okay, we're negative by the 26th. The NAO is negative by the 22nd, 21st even. All right, brief period there with a negative EPO, which is, by the way, why we're getting a shot of Arctic air this weekend. Hello. But you see they kind of line up. But out towards that period, the EPO flips. It's positive. Okay? And so what I believe is happening here is it's kind of a battle, if you will, between the warm Pacific air and the vortex dislodging, displacing, and possibly leaking colder risks into the forecast post-New Year's. Indications, though, on the American ensemble that the EPO goes negative with a negative Arctic oscillation and a negative NAO. Okay, European is trying to weaken that and bring it negative as well. Regardless, if it goes or if it doesn't go, if it goes, we're gonna flood the U.S. with Arctic air. All hell break loose, similar to late January of 2000. But if it doesn't, there's still a setup for cold air delivery and storms. It's still there. You don't have to have this. You just don't. The correlations for negative Arctic oscillation, negative NAO are shown here since 1990. The colder risks emerge east and southeast. They just do. And the warmer risks north there in northern New England, and you get a battle zone here. There's probably going to be a couple of big Ohio Valley to Northeast snowstorms here. All right, or Midwest to Northeast snowstorms, lows that transfer energy off the coast and bomb out, nor'easter or two. Okay, years that delivered cold, that didn't have the big P&A EPO block, 96 and 2000, and I'll tell you, 2000 started really warm, like the year 2000 just like blowtorched warm, and then the bottom fell out mid-January 2000. I think we're a little fast on that timing, a little bit ahead of that, but regardless, it delivered with a look like this, very similar to the look we have now, and it was able to bring this in and deliver the cold. In fact, these 2 years, I want to show you how warm it was. Let me turn my see if I can turn my drawing off here. frustrating me. But this is January 10th, right, of 2000. Okay, and then when it fell out, this was January 20th. I think you could just see that 10 days earlier this year, possibly, right? The CFS is starting to indicate this at its 500 millibar level too. It's indicating again, week by week 4, which is January 8th through the 14th. Again, could be a little slow, could be close to timing, but you've got your blocking over here. You don't have a positive PNA, but because you have a negative Arctic oscillation and your vortex is bottled up here, you get a storm track in here, you spill the cold in. The CFS is loading it up with cold. And I think it could possibly be doing pretty well. I'll show you in just a second, actually. These 2 years, 96 and 2000, produced this look. I put this back on the channel back on Monday, I think, and pinned it on the X feed and said, I think this could be the look. And here's the thing. I think that this could arrive by the 5th or so of January. If I'm off, it could be the 10th. If I'm too late, it could be the 2nd. I don't know. It's the 2nd through the 10th, give or take, where it returns. Yeah, the GFS is already trying to bring HDDs back at it by the 1st or 2nd, right? So let's look. What does the CFS have? Well, it has a blowtorch for holidays, right? Well known, well advertised, well talked about. The CFS, and it's shown this for multiple runs. I'm not cherry picking these. You can go back and look at these runs. It's there. I've watched them all, right? This one was a little bit later. The arrival's there, but they're all there. Point is, I'm just looking at the CFS weekly, all right? Anyone can. And again, you can see the arrival and the flood that looks like the analog package. It looks like the correlations of the AO and the NAO. And you can see what it does here for the first 5 days of January. There's January 5th through the 10th. There's the 10th through the 15th. It just brings winter in, right? It just brings winter in. So I think regardless of what the North Pacific block does, if we continue to see the trend with the polar vortex, the negative AO, the westward trending west-based negative NAO, which I'm seeing trends of that, you're going to have storms that can draw in cold because the cold is available to tap into. That's the point here. Okay. If the PV wasn't on our side of the hemisphere, I would be out, by the way. I'm out. I'm not going cold. I don't give a rat's frickin' you know what if we don't have the PV over here. But that's the way I see it. That's how I do it. So I just think that we're going to start seeing colder trends, colder risks in the charts by New Year's Eve and beyond. And we're going to start seeing colder forecasts being talked about, stormier forecasts, more winter storm potential. I think that's where we go. If you're still watching and you want to know what it's going to take to get an EPO or a PNA flip, I'll show you. I'll show you what it's going to take and the reason why it could be difficult to do. Let me go and show you the surface pressure forecast here off of with the European ensemble, off of here in East Asia. In East Asia, you see the blues. We have. I'm going to try to keep this simple. We have what we call positive or negative mountain torque, negative East Asia mountain torque. All right, it allows for really the jet to stay extended, the Pacific jet. It really doesn't allow for a whole lot of change. What we need is an episode of positive pressure anomalies or positive mountain torque in Eastern Asia to cause the jet to pull back and basically kind of what we would call snap back and allow for the roaring Pacific jet to weaken and perhaps point, more equatorward, if you will, and allow for a ridge to develop in the North Pacific. We're not seeing indications of that. On the GFS ensemble, we're not seeing indications of positive East Asia mountain torque yet, okay, to allow for the Pacific jet to change. That's what we would need to watch. Convection's got to get moving. That's MJO related. That's a whole nother video. I'm not getting into it because I think we can get cold without it in the East. Hey, if I'm wrong, guess what? I'm wrong. Sue me. Hey, subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends. Thanks for watching. Talk soon.